In this world, there's both a hero and a demon king. The hero fights under the Empire's banner, while the demon king rules over the demonic realm. When they finally clashed, the demon king commented that this time the hero seemed to be the one attacking, but the hero didn't respond. He just yelled and swung his sword. The hero's power comes from the world itself, and his only goal is to kill the demon king. On the flip side, the demon king only exists to destroy the hero. Purple lightning exploded between them as the demon king raised his hand. Someone from the hero's party shouted that the demon king had already gotten behind them. A demon from the king's side rushed forward, telling the others to halt. Then a girl named Renelle, wielding a magic wand, stormed into the fight and kicked the man, declaring they'd handle the weaklings. The moment she appeared, the hero's party tensed up. Renelle wasn't just any demon. She was one of the top squad leaders under the Demon King's command. There are 12 official squads in total, ranked from 1 to 12, all vicious and powerful, loyal to the king. All the squad commanders showed up, and in perfect sync, they launched a combined assault, vowing to annihilate their enemies. One commander, Aeld, slashed with brutal force, and Renelle followed with a spell, summoning a glowing magic circle and unleashing a blast of energy, laughing like she was toying with her prey. People say no one can beat them, but even they struggle against a hero. The hero drove his sword into the ground, golden sparks erupting from the blade. A shockwave rippled outward, kicking up a whirlwind of dust. The demons shielded their faces from the blast, stunned by the hero's power. But there's one being who's already taken down a hero before, Dion Hart, commander of Squad 0. Known in the demonic realm as the Demon Erit, he's the king's wild card, someone with unparalleled talent. Back when Dion handed in his resignation, the Demon King stared at the letter, confused. "You want to quit?" he asked. He didn't wait for an answer. He slammed the table so hard the pen snapped in his hand, and paper flew everywhere. One page smacked Dion in the face, but he didn't even flinch. The king's veins bulged with rage. "How dare you leave me?" he shouted, storming out from behind his desk and dropping to his knees, clinging to Dion's legs. Why are you doing this?" he asked. Eyes full of panic, Dion looked away, emotionless. The Demon King stood and tried to guess the reason. Was the castle not to his liking? Were other demons disrespecting him because he was human? But that didn't make sense. Dion, the so-called Demon Erit, was terrifyingly strong despite being human. He didn't gain his strength through training, he was just born with it. Everyone respected him. He held the strongest position, second only to the king, who'd even try to stop him. But Dion said none of that was the problem. The king seemed a little relieved, but also more confused. He tried to figure out what Dion was thinking, but couldn't read his expression. "If you don't tell me, the king started to say, but Dion interrupted, asking, "Would you kill me?" The Demon King stopped cold. "What did you just say?" he gasped. Then he grabbed Dion by the shoulders. Never. I'd never do that. Why would you even say that? You know how much I value you." He shook him desperately. "Is it because I didn't send you to the border? Because you want to fight? Is your body just itching to get back into battle?" Dion replied that it wasn't that either, but the king kept worrying. He raised his voice, asking him to calm down. Just then, he noticed blood dripping from Dion's nose. "You're bleeding again," he shouted. Dion wiped it with his hand and apologized for staining the floor. The Demon King panicked. "Get the doctor, now! Where the hell is the Squad 0 medic when his commander's like this?" Soon, Dion was on a sofa while the doctor, Ben, checked him over. The Demon King paced the room nervously. Ben touched Dion's palm and used magic. The king sat down and asked, "Well, how is he?" Ben explained that the symptoms were from the battle with the hero, but the king cut him off mid-sentence. "I already know that. I called you here to fix him, not to hear a recap. You do know what happens if you fail, right?" Ben, sweating, replied, "I know. I'll do my best." The Demon King then told Dion to get some rest, and they'd continue the conversation later. He called for guards to escort him to his room. Several demons in white coats came in. Ben grabbed Dion's arm to help, but Dion insisted he could walk. Ben ignored him and had him placed on a gurney. As they wheeled him through the castle, demons whispered, "Did the Zero Squad commander start bleeding again? I heard he shielded everyone when the hero tried to self-destruct. Even in a weakened state, he's still second only to the Demon King. He's the king's most trusted talent, even though he's human." Hearing all this, Dion thought bitterly, "They're wrong. I just want to retire, drink tea, nap, and have a chill life. But these guys keep running their mouths." They finally reached his room. A demon nurse said Hyun was already waiting. Inside, the girl checked his pulse and asked if he was hurting. Another demon ordered cold towels. Dion had a fever. They put one on his forehead. But he thought, this is all BS. Once the caretakers left, they bowed and wished him a good rest. Alone now, Dion clutched the blanket tightly and thought, "I'm not Demon Erit. I'm Dion Hart, and I'm the weakest person here." Later, a maid brought him a glass of water. She said she'd take the glass once he finished, and he thanked her as he drank. But when he returned the glass to the tray, their hands brushed. The maid flinched, clearly startled, and quickly apologized. Dion just sat there in silence before quietly asking her to leave. She bowed and left. smiling to herself, because their hands had touched. Dion waited until she was gone and let out a heavy sigh. She probably hates me, he thought. She didn't even want her hand to touch mine. Compared to that, the Demon King was way too invested in him. He remembered the time he got sick and tried to sneak out of bed. The Demon King found him wandering the halls and freaked out. "Why are you out of bed? You're still recovering," he yelled. He even had subordinates posted just to keep an eye on him. Another time, the king saw his food and asked, "How are you going to recover with that tiny meal?" He slammed a huge roasted chicken onto the table. Dion had protested, "That's way too much." Every time the Demon King saw him outside his room, he panicked like a worried parent. Dion sighed again. Demons here really take things to the extreme. He was the only human in the demon realm. Born with the weakest possible body, even mild stress made him collapse. But because of one major misunderstanding, he was mistakenly believed to be insanely powerful, and was made the leader of Squad Zero, directly under the Demon King himself. For now, he could fake the battle wounds excuse from the recent hero fight, but if anyone ever found out the truth about his weak constitution, he imagined a gruesome vision of the Demon King chopping off his head. Screaming, he bolted upright in bed, grabbing his own throat in terror. "I'm gonna die. I can't stay here anymore. I have to escape." He pictured all the squad commanders and the Demon King laughing at him if they ever discovered the truth. He nervously bit his nails. "I need to get out. Quietly, peacefully. Whatever it takes. I just want to live a chill, long life. And the only way to make that happen is to leave the demon realm." Suddenly, the chandelier above rattled as his second-in-command, Ed, burst through the doors. "Commander," Ed said, rushing to his bed. Dion was surprised. "Ed, you just got back from the human world?" Ed nodded and handed him a cube. "I brought you something new. A mirror cube." Seeing Ed's excited face made Dion feel a little more relaxed. Of all the demons, Ed's the one I feel safe around. He'd often return from human world missions with little gifts to help Dion kill time. But just as Dion reached for the cube, Ed hesitated. "Wait, that's not what I wanted to say. Did you faint during the battle?" Dion stared at the cube. "I'm fine now." "Fine? That's it?" Ed clenched his fists, clearly upset. "That stupid hero. I'll make him pay." Dion thought to himself, "They should have let me die and be reborn." But aloud, he just said, "I brought this upon myself." Ed interrupted. "No, you risked your life to stop that hero, for all of us." Dion thought, "That's not what happened." Ed rubbed his chin, eyes darkening with determination. "No matter what, I'll find a way to heal you, even if I have to beat it out of Ben." This guy's nuts, Dion thought. Demons really are terrifying. Ed wished him a good rest and left. Dion saw him off with a smile. Out of everyone, no one cares about me more than Ed, maybe even more than the Demon King. Yeah, the king's overbearing, but I owe him too for keeping me alive in this hellhole. Still, this is way too much. I hope nothing else gets misunderstood. Meanwhile, the Demon King was in his office, rereading Dion's resignation letter. He thought back to their first encounter, when he found Dion standing over the hero's corpse. The other demons nearby had gasped. Did he kill the hero? Not just that, he even protected us from the hero's self-destruction. But how is he still standing after taking that blast? The Demon King had thought to himself, the Empire really sent someone interesting. He'd walked up and asked for Dion's name, admiring the courage and loyalty it must have taken to leap into the battlefield. Dion had looked up, blood trickling down his face, and said his name with quiet pride. The Demon King had smiled. If I were the Empire, I wouldn't waste a guy like this on a suicide mission. So he offered Dion a hand and asked, "How about joining my army?" Back in the present, the Demon King grinned to himself. He's always been unpredictable. Not like I could ever control him anyway. Then his eyes caught a certain document on the desk. He picked it up, skimmed the contents, and smiled even wider. Without wasting a second, he called for his aide. "I'm summoning every squad commander. Get them here, now." The aide nodded and left. The Demon King looked back at the document. This'll definitely get Eret's attention. Back in his room, Dion was lying under the blanket when he got this weird feeling, like someone was gossiping about him. Then a knock came at the door. He was summoned. Grumbling to himself, he left the room. One demon greeted him as Lord Eret, but immediately went silent when he saw Dion's expression. Dion stormed down the hall, fists clenched. What the hell is the king thinking? He literally told me to rest, and now he's calling a meeting. Is he trying to kill me? Wait, is everyone going to be there? Every single squad commander? Even normal demons scare me. Other demons whispered as he passed. Is he better yet? He looks mad about the meeting. Dion tried to compose himself. Stay calm. Don't start anything. I won't survive a fight. A young demon girl pointed at him. Is that the guy from the rumors? The one who killed the hero? A demon beside her smirked, resting a hand on her shoulder. You seriously don't know? When the Demon King asked his name, he looked back all cool and said, Demon Eret. Forget it now? That's the most badass name you'll ever hear. Dion stared at them in horror. I said my name was Dion Hart, you idiots. Seeing his glare, the male demon ducked behind the girl and warned, Careful. He looks pissed. People say he's super stressed out from not getting enough battles. Better move before he kills us just for existing. They vanished in seconds, and Dion sulked. Kill them? I couldn't even beat a slime. I'm a 100% certified weakling. This whole misunderstanding just keeps getting worse. Still, there was one upside. No one dared mess with him, which gave him a slim chance of escaping the demon realm unnoticed. He reached the meeting hall. 2 guards were chatting at the door. As Dion approached, he straightened his posture and acted unfazed. The guards spotted him and instantly froze. Their faces went pale. He gave them a cold stare. Commander of Squad 0, the demon Eret. They opened the doors without a word. As he stepped inside, someone announced, "Last but not least, Commander of Squad 0 has arrived." Every pair of eyes turned to him. The Demon King smiled. "Ah, you came." The room was full of ridiculously powerful demons. Dion tried to stay cool, but tensed up instantly. What the hell is this atmosphere? Commander Jar from Squad 1 gestured for him to sit next to the king. Aeld eyed him and thought he looked weak. No way. This guy? I want to fight him. Commander Velton of Squad 6 asked if reaching his goal was his excuse for being late. Adelia, the 4th squad leader beside him, smacked him. "What's your problem?" "I'm sure he had his reasons," she added. Renelle clenched her fists, glaring at Velton. How dare this meathead disrespect Lord Eret? Under their judgmental gazes, Dion sat beside the Demon King, his whole body stiff with anxiety. Why are there so many commanders here? I want to crawl back to bed. The Demon King leaned over and asked, "You okay?" Dion forced a nod and apologized for being late. "No worries," the king replied. "It's not like you did it on purpose." Actually, Dion thought, I totally did. A smiling servant approached Dion with a bottle and a wine glass. "Allow me to pour for you, Commander." Dion watched the glass fill with what he assumed was wine. Finally, he thought, at least I'll get to drink some good alcohol. He brought the glass to his lips, took a few sips, and then paused. Something felt off. He stared into the glass. Wait, is this grape juice? Adelia flinched at his reaction. The Demon King gave him an awkward smile, while the rest of the room fell into an eerie silence. Dion set the glass down and stared at the glasses of other commanders. Their drinks look like actual wine. Why is mine different? He scanned the room with a sharp glare. Is this discrimination? The Demon King covered his face and let out a long sigh. I told them to give you juice. Dion frowned. Why? Seriously? You don't get it? The king replied. No, I really don't get it, Dion thought. Is this because I'm human? Did he finally realize how useless I am? His heart sank. Is this whole meeting just to announce that I'm done for? The Demon King, sensing the tension, quickly tried to redirect. Let's move on. There's a reason I called everyone here. This is it, Dion thought. He's really doing it. The king turned to the 6th squad commander. Velton, tell everyone what's going on. Velton stood up. The 12th squad has been defending a settlement, but the number of demonic monsters has skyrocketed. Half the settlement's already been wiped out. Survivors have been relocated behind a fortress wall in a nearby city, but we don't know how long they'll last. We need reinforcements. Where's the 12th squad commander? Someone asked. Killed, Velton replied bluntly. Another commander scoffed. They're just failed creatures. Are they really that dangerous? Watch your mouth, Velton snapped. Even failures can be deadly if they come in numbers. Dion sighed. Why are they panicking so much? Though, I get it. Demonic monsters were creations of the Demon King, but something went wrong. They act on pure instinct and are considered failed products. Still, Dion couldn't believe someone as strong as a squad commander lost to them. So what does this have to do with me? Velton went on. The monsters are multiplying like crazy. We don't know why. The Demon King added, it's probably because the hero used to suppress them. Now that he's dead, killed by Lord Eret, there's nothing keeping them in check. The room went quiet again. Dion bit his lip. So this is the setup. They're going to use this to get rid of me. But I didn't even kill the hero. You did, Your Majesty. He glared at the Demon King. Say something. Fix this. The king met his gaze, understood what Dion was silently saying, and smiled. Don't worry, he said confidently. Squad 0 will be the reinforcements. The words hit Dion like a lightning bolt. What did he just say? The Demon King beamed. Go there. Relieve some stress. I know you've been itching for action. Velton was confused by the king's tone. Why does he sound like he's sending him on vacation? Is Squad 0 really that strong? Dion trembled. My body's not at its best right now, he muttered. Please, just say I don't have to go. Aeld jumped in. Oh? You don't want to go? Jewer chimed in too. It might look like he's hesitating, but maybe he's just suppressing his overwhelming desire to fight. He's evaluating his condition like a true tactician. What? Dion thought. No. This is all wrong. Aeld nodded seriously. Incredible. I doubted him, but now I see he's the real deal. Jewer smiled. He's not just strong. He thinks before he acts. Aeld looked at Dion with admiration. I want to fight him more than ever now. The Demon King patted Dion on the back. No need to push yourself too hard. Just lead your squad and keep things under control. Dion stared at all the smiling commanders. There's no way out of this, is there? He clenched his fists. Fine, I'll go. But once I'm out of here, I'm escaping this demon realm for good. Under the cover of night, Dion rode in a carriage alongside Squad 0 toward the settlement. He leaned back with a sigh. It's finally happening. My escape. He remembered when he was packing his bags. The Demon King caught him in the act. Already packing? The king asked with a smile. Sorry for sending you out so late. You really want to go, huh? Dion had panicked. He thinks I'm just excited for the mission. If only he knew I was planning to run away. Though even in the Empire, things wouldn't be easy. The Emperor's insane. My brother hates me. Still better than dying to monsters. He pulled open the curtain and glanced at Ed, who was riding next to the carriage. Ed's capable. He and the others will handle everything. I'll just fake it and stay out of the way. One of the squad members riding beside Ed reported, "We're almost at the settlement. Stay alert." Dion felt around in his bag. Time to treat myself a bit. He pulled out a fancy bottle of demonic alcohol. The good stuff that's rare even in this realm. He'd swiped it during the earlier meeting, but hadn't had a chance to drink it. They thought I'd give up that easy? Hell no. Uncorking it, he whispered, "They say this stuff's so good it'll send you to heaven." He took a long swig, letting the burn hit. Damn, that's nice. So began the journey of Squad Zero, with Dion half drunk and relaxed. Ed, meanwhile, peeked at the carriage, concerned. He closed the curtains again. Is he okay? He thought back to earlier. Before departure, Dion had opened the carriage door and stared at the headless demon horses. One squad member had rushed over. "Wait! You want to ride a horse? Please think about your health. His Majesty said you should take the carriage until you're fully recovered." Dion had looked confused. What? I wasn't going to ride that thing. I was just curious. He nodded and got in the carriage. Ed had quietly closed the door and looked down. He must have really wanted to ride. He remembered the Demon King's opinion. It'll be good for his health. Is he insane in his condition? A voice snapped Ed out of his thoughts. The settlement's ahead. As they approached, ash floated in the air. The city was a charred wreck. Flames and smoke filled the sky, and corpses lined the roads. Ed pulled the reins. They're probably still nearby. Let's hunt them down. A moment later, a squad member shouted, "They're ahead!" A group of goblins, wolves, and larger beasts appeared. They were waiting for us. Ed quickly barked out orders. "Prepare for battle!" The squad dismounted and raised their weapons. "Forza Eret!" Ed yelled. The demons charged. Arrows flew, blades clashed, and monsters fell. But more kept coming. Ed retreated a bit and watched, panting. "There's no end to this," he muttered. A teammate shouted, "Watch out!" A huge werewolf lunged at him. Ed froze. The monster's roar echoed as it raised a claw to strike. Meanwhile, back in the Demon King's office, Jar entered. "Your Majesty, can Squad Zero handle this alone?" The king looked up from his paperwork. "You mean the monsters? There are a lot of them. Shouldn't we send reinforcements?" The Demon King shrugged. "They'll be fine. Squad Zero is strong, and besides, Eret is with them." At that exact moment, Dion leapt out of the carriage, dual daggers in hand. He lunged at the werewolf, stabbing it through the chest. Blood sprayed everywhere. Ed, frozen in place, could only stare. The monster fell. Dion stood silently, blood splattered on his face. "Commander," Ed stammered. Dion slowly walked over. "I was just about to call for your help," Ed began, but stopped mid-sentence. Dion's dagger was now pointed straight at his face. "Are you my next opponent?" Dion asked, smiling. Ed fell backward in terror. Oh no, he's drunk again. And this is what he's like after drinking. Where did he even get alcohol? Dion lost interest and turned to another monster. "No? Then maybe it's you?" The giant monster didn't hesitate. It immediately launched an attack. Dion took the hit straight on and was flung into a wall with a loud crash. Dust rose as his body slid down, leaving a long blood trail. Ed gasped in horror, but despite the blood and impact, Dion slowly lifted his head. He wiped the blood from his mouth, smirked, and asked the monster, "That all you got?" Then he charged. Daggers flashing, he slashed into the monster with crazed precision, stabbing over and over. It was like he'd lost control, acting on pure instinct. Another pair of monsters tried to jump him from behind, but he noticed just in time. With a swift twist, he adjusted his grip and countered, stabbing one in the chest and spinning around to take out the other with a flurry of hits. His squad stood frozen in place, unable to move, staring in disbelief. This wasn't the calm, reserved commander they knew. This was something else, something terrifying. Dion kicked another monster to the ground and raised his dagger high, grinning like a madman. "You're next." His only thought, leave nothing breathing behind. Even after the monster stopped moving, he kept stabbing. First, second, third. He had to make sure. If they thought he was dead, then he needed to make that corpse unrecognizable. The other monsters, seeing the brutal spectacle, began to panic. But Dion didn't stop. He kept driving the blade into the corpse, its blood splashing onto him as he laughed. This is how he survives, he thought. In a world that wants him dead, with a body this weak, he has no choice. News of the massacre at the settlement soon reached the imperial palace. A man in robes knelt before Emperor Eduardo Desert and reported that a scout from the demon realm had shared shocking news. The commander of Squad Zero was involved in the battle. Apparently, he demonstrated insane strength and unmatched brutality. Eduardo narrowed his eyes. The Demon King's most prized talent. It reminds me of someone. He smiled to himself. If they want to leave the demon realm, they'll need someone just as powerful. He already had the perfect candidate. How about it? He asked. The kneeling man looked up, unsure. Eduardo continued, "I'm giving you a special opportunity to make your mark." The man bowed deeply. "I'll accept any order, Your Majesty." Then why don't you become that talent? Time passed. Dion reflected on the hell that was the 8-year war for the glory of the Empire. That place was soaked in blood. He'd seen the front lines collapse, nobles sent to die like disposable pawns. He ripped his dagger from a corpse, shaking the blood off with a grim look. The Empire only sees us as meat shields. On the battlefield, soldiers screamed and charged. Dion had no desire to fight for the Empire. He had no interest in dying for them. He didn't care about glory or sacrifice. He just wanted to survive. As another enemy lunged at him, Dion cut its legs out and spun to stab another behind him. Fight for the Empire? What a joke. He wasn't fighting for them. He fought to stay alive. The battlefield eventually fell silent until footsteps echoed behind him. Dion turned around and froze. A man stood there with the exact same face as him, but his eyes were wild, his expression unhinged. The man suddenly grabbed his arm and yanked him close. Survive and get revenge, he said, looking straight into Dion's eyes. Then Dion woke up. He sat up, breathing heavily. A dream, or it felt important. He looked around. Is this my room? Ben, sitting in a chair nearby, noticed him stirring. Oh, you're awake. Dion turned to see both Ben and Ed beside his bed. You guys? Ed wiped his eyes. You were out all day, Ben added. We managed to treat you while you were unconscious, but man, when we saw you covered in blood when you came back, we almost had a heart attack. What are you talking about? Dion asked, confused. How did I get back? What happened to the mission? Ed smiled. We completed the operation. The monsters ran off in fear. We brought you back after you collapsed. Dion blinked. Wait, it's over? Ben nodded. It looks like you lost some memories. Your injury must have been worse than we thought. You passed out after a demonic monster hit you, Ed said. But you got back up, so we didn't panic at first. Dion stared at them. What are they even talking about? Memory loss? He asked, unsure. But as he spoke, his own memories started flooding back. Flashes of blood, of stabbing corpses while laughing, of chaos. His expression darkened. No way. I wasn't injured. I passed out because I drank too much. Ben smiled warmly. Squad Zero didn't lose a single soldier. It's incredible. Dion gave a weak smile. I didn't really do anything. So modest, Ben replied. No, seriously, Dion thought. I didn't do anything. Did Ed and the others handle everything? I just caused problems. He turned to Ed. Sorry, I was a burden, but Ed shook his head. No way. You saved us all. You took down so many monsters on the front lines. You're the embodiment of a true commander. Ben nodded. You underestimate yourself. Sure, your body's weak right now because of the hero fight, but he trailed off, wiping away tears. Dion hid his face in frustration. What are they even saying? I didn't defeat anyone. I don't even know how to swing a sword properly. Ed got fired up. We'll get stronger. For you. So you can rely on us and finally rest. Dion's stress shot through the roof. I'm gonna lose it. This pressure is way too much. They've completely misunderstood everything. I'm just trying to survive. Before he could spiral further, the doors swung open. The commanders of the 3rd and 4th squads walked in. Adelia smiled. I heard you just woke up. Ailed, behind her, frowned. Keep it down, he's recovering. You're louder than me, she snapped back. Why are you even here? Want me to play with you? Don't be stupid. I came to show respect. Dion stared at them in shock. Why are they here? Are we close now? Then Jar walked in, arms crossed. If you came to visit him, do it quietly and leave. He's not comfortable. Ailed awkwardly tucked his hands behind his back. Adelia looked away. Dion felt the weight of their presence. How do I get rid of these people? He raised his arms and yelled, Just leave already! The commanders flinched. Ailed thought, maybe he's still sensitive from the battle. I was too carefree. Jar tried to smooth things over. We get it. No fighting inside the Demon King's castle. No killing each other. Dion raised a brow. Kill each other? Seriously? That's ridiculous. I can barely land a single hit. Then an idea hit him. He turned to the commanders and gave them a cold, eerie smile. Maybe I can teach them about mercy. That way, even if they find out I'm weak, they won't kill me. The commanders tensed up as he spoke. There's no need for violence, he said calmly. Even if you're angry, sometimes mercy is the right answer. He held up a finger. Even if someone lies or is weak, you should show mercy. Please, just let me live. But instead of calming down, the room grew even more tense. The commanders nodded fearfully. Yes, we understand. What's with this vibe? Dion thought. Didn't I phrase that super nicely? It sounded like a sermon. Jar looked at him, terrified. Even when he's forgiving, he's scary. Trying to change the subject, Jar cleared his throat. Anyway, I heard the mission was a success. You really gave it your all. Adelia's fear had faded, replaced by bright enthusiasm. There's been so much talk about you in the castle. They're saying you personally killed half the monsters. Dion choked on air. His eyes widened as he began drooling in shock. They rushed over, worried. Are you okay? He quickly covered his mouth, nodding. Killed half the monsters? Where are these rumors coming from? At this rate, they're going to credit me with everything. He glanced at Ed, silently apologizing. But Ed was just standing there with sparkly eyes and a proud smile. What is that face? Ailed walked up to Dion's bed and leaned in, smiling. Actually, I came here with a favor to ask. Dion recoiled slightly. A favor? Aeld nodded. It's a small thing, really. Once you've fully recovered, I'd like to spar with you. Dion froze. Spar? With him? The 3rd Squad commander, who leads the elite unit directly protecting the Demon King, wants to spar me? You want to spar with me? He asked, hoping he'd misheard. Of course, Aeld said excitedly. You're so well known. I figured I could learn a thing or two. Jar perked up. Oh? Sounds fun. Commander Eret's never had a spar since taking office, right? I'd love to see his level firsthand. Adelia beamed. Ooh, we could make it an event. The 4th Squad handles intel. We'll get lots of spectators. Aeld frowned. Just don't let the crowd get in the way. Wait, Washington, Dion said. I'm not doing a spar, but their smiles made it hard to say no. His hands trembled. Why are they deciding things without me? One hit from him, and I'm dead. Panicking, he held his head and tried to reason with them. I don't think I can accept a spar. I haven't fully recovered from that mission yet. It'd be risky. He began muttering nonsense. What am I even saying anymore? Aeld stared at him, puzzled. Is he avoiding battle? Dion caught the look in his eyes. No, he's suspicious now. Just then, Jar interrupted. Incredible, Aeld. Don't you get it? Commander Eret isn't worried about his own health. He's worried about hurting you. Aeld blinked. Jar nodded, very serious. That's why he declined. He's afraid he won't be able to hold back. It hasn't been long since the mission. His instincts are probably still razor sharp. Dion and Aeld stared at him, stunned. Dion even pointed at himself like me. Realization dawned on Aeld. Wait, is that true? Dion screamed internally. What is happening? Jar added. This refusal was for your sake. Once sparring starts, it won't stop until someone dies. Aeld lowered his head, solemn. He's right. As much as I want to fight, I can't guarantee I'll win. I'm not ready to die. Then he bowed, fists clenched behind his back. Though it wounds my pride, I'm grateful. You thought of my safety first. Dion stood there, stunned. He bought it? That worked? Jar smiled, full of admiration. As expected, Sir Eret. You earned their respect. I don't even know what I said, but hey, I dodged the sparring match somehow. Aeld suddenly raised his head again. But I'm not giving up. When I'm stronger, I'll ask again. So get ready. His intense stare lingered, and Dion mentally screamed, Just drop it already. Aeld clenched his fists. This is great. I feel fired up. I'll train harder than ever. For you. He turned to leave. Dion reached out to stop him, but the door was already closing behind him. He left, Jar said. Dion, still with his hand stretched toward the door, slumped. Jar folded his arms. I haven't felt motivated in a while, but you lit a fire in me. Adelia groaned. It's so loud in here. Dion's head drooped. I'm going insane. He collapsed back onto the bed, hands over his face. Ed rushed to his side. His temperature's going up again. Jar looked at the other commanders. Let's leave. He needs rest. Adelia nodded. Get some good sleep. Ben handed Dion a glass of water, and he took it with shaky hands. His mind spun with one desperate thought. I need to get out of this castle before I lose my mind. Jar paused at the door. Once you've recovered enough to spar with Aeld, can I request one too? The door clicked shut. Dion lay frozen, eyes wide open. Ben leaned over him, concerned. Ed covered him with a blanket. Dion didn't respond. Ed looked up at the others. His heart's racing. Please, just let him rest. Dion said nothing, still staring at the ceiling. I need to run away. Now. Time passed. He finally managed to slip outside and was leaning on a stone pillar for support. So exhausting. But at least I got away. For now, he muttered. But his break was short. People just kept coming. Ed came by. The squad's waiting for you. You should meet them. Ben chimed in too. Sitting alone won't help you recover. Light exercise could work wonders. Aeld showed up, drenched in sweat. Still haven't met the Zero Squad? I'll train like crazy until you're ready to keep our promise. I'm gonna explode, Dion thought. Everyone keeps bothering me. He kicked a rock in frustration, and it flew straight into the forehead of a passing demon, who screamed in pain. Ow! Who the hell? The demon turned and immediately went pale. It was Sir Eret. Dion stepped out of the shadows, blank expression on his face. Great. What are the odds? The demon dropped to his knees and bowed repeatedly. We greet the great commander of Squad Zero. So sorry for the noise. What? Dion asked. Behind the demon, a small incubus trembled. The demons quickly explained, This little punk blocked our path, but we've taught him a lesson. We'll be going now. They practically bolted. Dion looked down at the small, terrified incubus, still frozen in place. He's the weakest demon I've ever seen. Even weaker than me. What should I do with him? The incubus, shaking, thought to himself, He's looking at me. I heard he's calm at first, but when he snaps, he's worse than any demon. Am I going to die? Tears welled up in his eyes. This might be it for me. But, to his shock, Dion extended a hand. Can you stand? The incubus blinked, confused. Dion smiled gently. Those jerks are gone now. You're safe. The incubus stared up at him in disbelief. His eyes weren't filled with hatred or disgust, just genuine concern. He couldn't remember the last time someone treated him like this. I'm an incubus. Doesn't physical contact with me disgust you? Instead of answering, Dion just grabbed his hand and pulled him to his feet. I'm human, Dion replied. You disgusted by me? No, of course not, the incubus cried. Dion smiled and patted him on the shoulder. Then we're good. We're both just trying to survive, right? The incubus's heart swelled with gratitude. You're amazing. I've never been treated so kindly. Please, let me repay you. Do you have a little time? Dion raised an eyebrow. Time? I feel like I just signed up for something messy, but maybe that's just me. While Dion was wondering how to respond, the Demon King walked into his room, planning to check on him. But he stopped when he noticed Dion wasn't there. Where did he go? He muttered. Meanwhile, Dion was still processing the incubus's offer. I want to thank you, the incubus said shyly. I could show you the garden. There are herbs that help with fatigue. I know you're really busy as a squad commander, so if you don't have time, I understand. Eh? Garden? Dion asked. There's a garden in the Demon King's castle? He looked around, stunned. Seriously? In this dreary, cursed place? The incubus bowed. Yes, I'm the gardener. Sorry for not introducing myself earlier. Dion stared at him in disbelief. A gardener? In the demon realm? What a peaceful job. Didn't think that existed here. He rubbed his chin. A quiet place, filled with flowers, greenery, and fresh air. That actually sounds like exactly what I need right now. He gave a small smile. Mind showing me around? The incubus lit up with joy. Of course. Please follow me, Commander. Finally, Dion thought, somewhere to breathe. The incubus led him into the garden and waved toward the rows of colorful flowers. We're here. Dion's eyes widened with wonder. Wow, it's beautiful. The incubus scratched the back of his head, proud and a little shy. Dion walked further in, soaking in the atmosphere. The smell of fresh greenery, the cool breeze. It was perfect. He finally felt at peace. But just as he stepped forward, a giant carnivorous plant snapped its jaws open above him. Slime dripped from its mouth. Dion yelped and jumped back in terror. The jaws missed him by inches, slamming shut with a loud snap. Gripping his chest, Dion gasped. What the hell was that? The incubus rushed up to the plant, scolding it. You dare try to bite it again? Want me to teach you another lesson? The plant froze, quivered, and backed down. The incubus turned to Dion with an apologetic smile. He must have just been excited to see you. Dion bit his lip nervously. I take back everything I said about him being weak. He's terrifying, too. He looked around. This place looked peaceful at first, but I bet every plant in here's got teeth. The incubus called out to him. Commander? Dion cleared his throat and put on a polite smile. Ah, sorry. Something urgent came up. I need to go. Already? The incubus said, visibly disappointed. But there are even cooler plants deeper inside. I'm actually heading to the training ground, Dion said quickly. I haven't seen my squad in a while, so I should check in. The incubus reached out for his hand. The training ground? Dion pulled his hand away awkwardly. Yeah, right now. Urgent squad stuff. He turned to leave, waving goodbye over his shoulder. The incubus tried to speak, but Dion was already gone. Watching him disappear, the incubus lowered his hand and sighed. He left. He must really be busy. The carnivorous plant nudged him, and he rubbed its head. What's up? You sad he left too? Don't worry. He'll come back. I just need to prepare something nice for him. He seems to like plants, so I'll give him the cutest one in the garden. He smiled brightly. I'm sure we'll get even closer. Meanwhile, Dion shivered. I still get goosebumps just thinking about that garden. What was I even expecting? This is the Demon King's castle, not a nature park. Back in the corridor, he took a deep breath. All right, enough dodging. I really should go check on the squad. That drunk chaos I caused, it's been bugging me. He remembered Ed's words and clutched his chest. He's not wrong. They've been doing everything they can for me. I owe them at least one appearance. Eventually, he arrived at the training ground. He glanced around. No one's here, he muttered. He walked into the center, thinking this would be quick. I showed up. That's enough. I can leave now. Still, something gnawed at him. Running from everything won't solve much. I should at least see how strong the Zero Squad really is. He glanced at the weapons rack and saw a row of wooden swords. Do they really train with these? He murmured, reaching out. He grabbed one and tried swinging it, only for his arm to instantly drop under the weight. He gritted his teeth and tried to lift it again. Why is this so heavy? Face flushed with embarrassment, he gave an awkward chuckle. It's just a wooden sword, and I can barely hold it. I'm so screwed. He lowered it to the ground and leaned on it for support. Maybe I'm just meant to use daggers. Swords are a no-go. Suddenly, he heard footsteps. He turned and saw them. His squad, Zero Squad, had entered the training grounds and were staring at him in wide-eyed shock. They'd seen everything. Oh no, when did they get here? To them, though, Dion looked cool, posing dramatically with the sword, standing at the center of the field. They rushed over. Commander, you're here. Are you feeling okay? We were getting worried. We were on break. We weren't slacking off, promise. Dion dropped the sword in a panic and tried to stay calm. Crap. They saw me. This is going to cause even more misunderstanding. As they got closer, they started smiling. During the mission, you were incredible. What's wrong, Commander? One asked, seeing his stunned face. Dion held up his hands, trying to stop the flood of compliments. It's fine. I'm okay. You guys relax too. The squad settled down, though one whispered, he still looks really tired. Another added, he always says that. Dion shot them a suspicious look. What are they whispering about now? One of the squad members wiped their eyes. "Commander, you pushed yourself too far. We'll protect you from now on." "Why are they looking at me like that?" Dion thought, flustered. "I just came to check in." He turned away. "I meant to visit right after the mission, but things happened. Anyway, you all did well. I'm proud of you." "There. That's a decent amount of praise, right? Now once they start training, I can just sit in a corner and chill." He turned to leave. "That's all I wanted to say. Keep up the good work." But none of them moved. Hidden among the squad, a man none of them recognized reached for his sword. He silently stepped forward. Dion was just about to walk off the platform when his leg suddenly gave out. He stumbled and nearly fell, but caught himself just in time by leaning on the wooden sword like a cane, dropping to one knee. At that exact moment, the mysterious man swung his sword at Dion. The blade sliced through the air, missing completely. The man froze in shock. He dodged that. Dion slowly turned around, blinking. He looked just as surprised. His squad panicked. "Commander, are you okay? Who is this guy?" Dion's eyes widened. "What was that? Did he just try to kill me?" He turned to run, but his elbow accidentally smashed into the attacker's face, knocking him to the ground. Blood gushed from the guy's nose and mouth. Dion stared, frozen. "Did I hit him?" The man groaned, calling Dion that demon, Eret. But as he looked closer, he noticed something strange. "He doesn't look like a demon. Is he really human?" The squad rushed to Dion's side. "Commander, are you hurt?" The man growled, holding his face, and cursed them. That's when Dion realized, if even my squad doesn't know him, then he's an outsider. The man scrambled to his feet, still clutching his face. But the moment he looked up, Dion was standing over him, wooden sword raised high. The man froze in terror. "Crap!" Dion brought the sword down, hitting the intruder on the head and knocking him unconscious. He tossed the sword beside the man and stretched his sore wrists. "Take him to the king," he said calmly, "and lock him up." The squad obeyed, shocked by how smoothly Dion had handled the situation. As he walked off the field, one of them said, "He's disappointed in us. We let an outsider into the training grounds, and it was the commander who caught him, not us." Another added, "Did you see how fast he moved? He dodged an attack like it was nothing, then struck back instantly, like a beast." One of the demons finished tying up the intruder and thought, "He's on a whole different level. His presence alone overshadows all of us." He clenched his fist. "I need to get stronger. We all do. So we can be worthy of standing beside Sir Eret. Let's start training. Now. There's no time to rest." Meanwhile, Dion walked back to his room holding his sore wrist. "Ouch. Lifting that sword messed me up." Hands behind his head, he sighed. "At least I handled that mess. Time to finally relax." Time passed, and Dion eventually woke up from a nap, stretching and sitting up in bed. "That was the best sleep I've had in a while. What time is it?" Then, from the corner of the room, a voice interrupted him. "Did you sleep well?" the Demon King asked. "You must have been exhausted." Dion turned toward him, confused. The king was sitting calmly on a chair, sipping tea with a smile. "Wait, is this a dream, Your Majesty?" Dion asked in disbelief. "No dream," the king replied with a chuckle, setting his cup down and standing up. "Sorry to barge in right after you woke up, but can I have a moment?" Dion scrambled out of bed and walked toward him. "Is something wrong? I swear I haven't done anything." The king placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Come with me. I'll explain." Dion followed, visibly confused. They headed down into the dungeon, where a guard greeted them and opened the cell without hesitation. Dion looked around. The underground prison. Is that outsider locked up down here? Inside the dim cell, a bloodied man was tied to a post. His body was bruised, and his head hung low until he heard the door creak. He slowly lifted his head, his gaze filled with fury. The Demon King crouched beside him and yanked his hair back, then pointed at him. "Look closely. Doesn't he seem familiar?" The prisoner gritted his teeth and snarled, "Let me go! I'll kill you all!" The Demon King ignored him and continued. "He's got the raw strength to fight demons, even though he's just a man. The kind of overwhelming power that keeps growing. It's suspicious, don't you think?" Dion took a closer look, and something clicked. "Wait, no way! Is he a hero?" In the demon realm, when a hero nears death in a battle with the Demon King, two things can happen. They can self-destruct, taking out everything nearby, or sacrifice their life to release a burst of energy across the continent, splitting their power into fragments. Most choose the second option, because otherwise their powers vanish. The Empire collects these fragments. Those who carry one are unofficially called hero candidates, but only a select few. Those with achievements recognized by the Empire are granted the official title of hero. So all of that was just a strategy to abuse the Empire's power, Dion thought bitterly. The Demon King scoffed. "They really sent a hero into my kingdom? That's a joke." He smirked. "No, he's not a hero. He's a candidate. A leftover fragment." Dion nodded inwardly. "He's definitely not powerful enough to be the real deal. But still, he shouldn't be underestimated. The Emperor wouldn't send him without a hidden motive." Something felt off. He turned to the king and asked, "Can I speak to him alone?" The Demon King gave him a surprised look, then smiled. "Sure, I'll be right outside." As he left, he patted Dion on the shoulder. Dion turned to the prisoner. The man glared at him with hatred. "Dion, Heart, you traitor. Dion flinched. He knows my name? The man barked. You had the Emperor's trust. You were a hero of the Empire. And then, you betrayed us. You joined the demons. He was about to say more, but Dion interrupted him with a laugh. Haha, wow. This is how they decided to send a message? The prisoner frowned. What are you talking about? Still chuckling, Dion leaned in. You're not here to complete a mission. You're here as bait, a pawn. No, that's a lie, the man shouted. I was sent to eliminate the traitor, to kill you. Dion sat down across from him, smiling. Then why call me a traitor if you don't know the truth? The prisoner went quiet. Dion placed his hands on the man's trembling shoulders. You were thrown out just like me. The Emperor knew everything. The man's eyes shook. What do you mean? Leaning in, Dion whispered in his ear. You're here for a reason. Your mission wasn't about killing me. You were the message. Then he pulled back with a calm smile. You really didn't know? The man's face paled as realization hit. He slumped forward. No, he wouldn't do that. The Emperor wouldn't just leave me. Dion stood up. You've got time to think it over before you die. Without another word, he walked to the cell door and waved goodbye over his shoulder. If you enjoyed the story so far, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Yume Recap, and stay tuned for the next video.